Good morning, gardeners. This is Vicki, gardening in Zone 5B. Want to give you an update on what I'm doing in my yard right now. So this tree right here had a wall. It still has a wall, but I've taken a layer of it down, which is along that bed now. And I'm going to take another layer down. Reason being, apparently, you're not supposed to bury. You know, when you plant a tree, they say don't plant it too deep. Well, this was a very established tree, and the people that lived here before me built this really pretty retaining wall type bed around it. Let me get up and get closer. But anyhow, this tree is not doing so hot. Speculating it could be because of Japanese beetles, but it also could be this situation here. So when you plant a tree too deep like that, it causes the bark to rot around the base and also prevents the roots from getting enough water, I guess, and oxygen or whatever. So they have to start growing up out of the ground like we have here. And they're really not supposed to do that. So I'm hoping that by digging this away, lowering the ground back down to almost level, at least on this side, I'm hoping that'll help this tree out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this bottom row out that's like deep into the ground. I don't know. After I get this next layer removed, I might do that, but we'll see. So on this side, it goes much further because it's kind of part of this retaining wall because I live on a terrace. So I can't take it down all the way, but I can at least take it down one more row and possibly two. But like I said, that second row on this side it's dug in. So I would have to remove that row going all the way around if I wanted to take it down two rows. And then like I said, I can't really remove it on the other side. So that's a big project that I want to finish by the end of this year. And then I'm using those to expand my bed on this side. This is my, what I call my east side shade garden bed. And I just want to move it out further. I've got some things that I realized that aren't going to have enough space, like this, what is it called? Lemony lace elderberry. This is only its second year, and last year it was about probably less than a foot tall when I planted it, and that's how much it's grown. It's already about, I'd say 3 feet. And then this Aurelia Sun King right here, I guess those can get, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet eventually. This is its second year as well, and it's about 1.5 feet tall. But it's, you know, I need to move some hostas around. Some things are starting to get buried a little bit under there. So expanding this bed out, it's all good. Less grass is good. More space for my shade garden is good. And that's the plan for this area. Going down here, I've been working on putting in a kind of like a shrub row between my house and my neighbor's house. I'm adding some evergreens for winter interest and privacy, I guess, intermixed with other stuff. So that white flowering one is a Rose of Sharon pillar type, so they stay pretty narrow but they get tall. That evergreen on the end there is, oh hell, what is it called? I will come back with the label. That one is an arborvitae. That one is a smoke bush. This is a serviceberry tree. Also going to be the columnar form, so it shouldn't get quite as wide as it does tall. Another Rose of Sharon, another arborvitae, another serviceberry tree, which is really small. I just planted those like a few weeks ago. They're half price at Lowe's. Or no, I'm sorry, Home Depot. Rose of Sharon, arborvitae, 9-bark, a willow bush, another Rose of Sharon, another arborvitae, another one of those evergreens that I can't remember the name of that I'll add a label. And this one on the end is called Moonglow Juniper. I just planted that yesterday. I was quite shocked to find out that the root ball of that could have fit in a 1-gallon container. They had it in like a 5-gallon pot. And once I started removing it from the pot, I realized that it was, what do you call that, ball and burlap? They had literally had it balled and burlapped at, you know, this small size, and then they put it in this bigger pot, which kind of hid that, right? But the roots had grown through the burlap, and so when I took the burlap off, unfortunately it took a lot of the roots off with it, which is why I think it's kind of doing that droopy thing. Now, I like the way that it looks doing that. However, that's not the way that that's supposed to look, so hopefully that recovers. It's going to be a beautiful kind of blue coloration. Anyway, that was disappointing. You should probably check the root balls and things like that of things that you're buying, especially if they're bigger. Now, it was half off at Home Depot. I only paid $30 for it, but still. And then this right here is a saffron druine, I don't know if I'm saying that right, climbing rose. I need to get a bigger trellis for that, probably this fall or spring of next year, so that I can start climbing that wall of my shed. I originally had that planted in my bog garden area, but that area is like what I call my hot garden, and I only plant things that are like a true red, orange, yellow, white is okay. So anyway, this saffron druine rose is more of like a pinky red. It's not what I would consider a true red. And so I decided I didn't want it in that garden, and I moved it out here. This whole area. So once my hedgerow starts filling out and becoming more mature, that's going to be the background for all of this space here behind this retaining wall is going to be my rose garden. So I'm going to call it Rose Row, probably. And I'm just going to have tons of rose bushes planted in front of these other shrubs. So they'll be the backdrop, and then we'll have roses in front. This tree right here is butterfly magnolia. I just planted that last year, so it's still pretty small. But it has pretty big leaves, and then it gets these really cool catkins on it. It doesn't have any yet, but I believe they were on it in the fall of last year, so it should start developing them soon. Oh, hang on. Maybe that's what those are. You see those little pointy things that are starting to kind of pop out? More over here. I think that's what those are. So this tree is not quite as tall as me. I'm 5'2". It's maybe 4.5 feet. And then that one over there is a linden tree, and yeah, I also planted that last fall. I had planned on waiting until I cut down this giant tree right here, because this giant tree needs to get cut down, but I found out that it's going to cost a ton of money, like $8,000 minimum, to get that tree cut down. So yeah, I had to go ahead and plant my tree, my linden tree, and it'll be fine. I mean, it's getting enough sun until I cut down this other tree, but do you see how that's right over my roof? It's making me nervous. It's not safe. Anyway, see my previous videos for the story behind that, but that tree is dying in addition to this tree. So I'm trying to save this tree. That's why I'm taking that base down and trying to bring it down to ground level for the roots. When you plant a tree, you should be always be able to see the root flare. So like, see how on this tree you can see the root flare. That is a tree that was properly planted. I don't see it on that one or this one. However, these trees seem pretty healthy, so I'm not too worried about those. But this one, if you really look, has quite a bit of dead branches up in there. And I don't think that the canopy is nearly as full as it would be if it was healthy. For as mature and old as it is, that's all the canopy that it has. And I don't know, I'm just convinced that it's because of the way this base is kind of smothering it and probably rotting out the trunk at the very bottom. Like, I see a hole right here. And I see carpenter ants and possibly termites and I don't know, stuff like that. So gotta fix it. Okay, my front border, mostly hydrangeas, but I've also got some oriental lilies. Those already bloomed. Here's a bobo. That one over there is a Invincible Spirit too, but I cut the blooms off already. They were already like that antique color, and I made a little floral arrangement with them. This one right here, I'm pretty sure is my new ruby that I just planted last summer. This one here, I don't know what this hydrangea is. It's either, I want to say a lace cap or maybe a ruby. This is a hardy hibiscus. I moved this back about a foot and a half this spring, and you know, they don't like that, so it's okay, but it's not as pretty as it would have been if I hadn't done that. Like, there's a lot of blooms still to come, but it lost a lot of them when I moved it. These irises are newly planted. I just got these free off of Facebook, from my Facebook group that I'm in, like a plant swap type of thing. Another hydrangea, unsure what type this is. Once my hydrangeas get more established and start blooming, I'll know what they are, but I kind of bought a ton, planted them all, and now I can't really remember what they are because they're not established enough to bloom, all of them. Okay, some more irises, some grass, some little boxwoods. I don't know what that is. I think it's anemone or windflower. Another hydrangea. This one is probably Invincible Spirit too. I just planted this recently. It has pink berries. I'll put the name up, I forget. Here's a Gara that I just planted in the spring. My black lace elderberry, I planted that last year. Again, it was probably like a foot or so, and much bigger now.